Dogs are indeed super fascinating creatures. There's a reason why they're universally deemed to be man's best friend, but that's far from being the only good thing about them. Keeping a dog as a pet comes with innumerable advantages, but sometimes your dog just might act up in ways that are extremely confusing to you. Have you ever noticed your dog seems to bark at only a handful of people and remains calm and friendly around everyone else? Well, there's a scientific reason behind that. This video is for all the dog lovers and owners out there. If you want to understand curious dog behaviors, stick around till the end to not miss out. Number 10. Why dogs bark at selective strangers. The first and foremost reason why dogs bark in general is that they sense a reason to be afraid. Barking is the most solid indicator of fear, so if you notice your dog barking around a particular person, it's because the poor creature is terrified of something going wrong. If you don't want your puppy to grow up to be more fearful around strangers, you need to make sure that you pay attention to its socialization skills from a young age. Although fear is the underlying reason why an adult dog seems to bark at some strangers and not others, the root cause of that fear is often the lack of experience with human beings at a young age. So the next time you find a random street dog barking at you, don't be offended. The poor creature is probably more afraid of you than the other way around. Number 9. Why does your dog constantly spin in circles or chase its tail? It's not super unusual for dogs to spin out of excitement, but when the tail chasing becomes excessive, you need to start taking it seriously. According to vets, frequent and seemingly unnecessary spinning can be a symbol of potential health complications. It might mean that your dog is suffering from an inner ear infection, a brain lesion, or even seizures. In such cases, it's best to always consult a medical professional instead of trying to figure everything out on your own. The spinning can be genetic, a compulsion, or a sign of a severe health problem. What you need is expert advice to determine which one of those might be troubling the little guy. Number 8. Why do they even eat grass? Dogs are often found to be munching on grass, which makes no sense at first because dog food should be enough for them. So, why exactly do they do it? Despite not being seemingly hungry. The thing is, eating grass probably comes as an instinct to your dog because a lot of dog ancestors did it as a way to remove toxic chemicals and parasites from their bodies. What's more, dogs probably like the high fiber content of grass, which helps them digest their food better. Whatever the reason may be, you do need to ensure that your dog doesn't eat grass in excess. It can lead to a mat of grass in its stomach, often requiring surgery to be removed. Number 7. Why do they eat poop? Every pet owner can relate to the disgusting and alarming situation when we catch our dogs eating poop. Of all the things they could possibly munch on, why do they have to go to the grossest option on the menu? Well, it's a relatively common behavior among dogs, with at least 25% of them exhibiting it every now and then. This could be due to a number of underlying reasons. Maybe your dog associates poop with something negative, and every time it has a house training accident, it wants to get rid of all the evidence to avoid angering you. The behavior can be instinctive and traced back to ancestral survival instincts. Either way, it's not a very pleasant habit, and it's advised to keep your pet's environment as clean as possible so there's no temptation to do so. Number 6. Why do they sniff butts? This one seems extremely silly at first, especially if you're a new dog parent, but remember, a dog's nose has over 300 million olfactory receptors that one sniff isn't enough to give them all the information they need. The closer the source of body chemistry, the more useful is the sniff. So don't be surprised or grossed out if your dog sniffs the butts of other dogs before deciding whether they're friends or foes. It's an excellent way to protect themselves against potential threats and something you don't need to worry about fixing. Number 5. Why they might wink at you. Your dog winking at you seems cute at first, but it usually signals a potential problem. It's possible that your dog could have gotten something in its eye, or it could be experiencing dry eye. In such a scenario, make sure to provide your dog with eye drops or flush its eyes with fresh water or saline. What's more, winking is also a way for a dog to break its gaze. Constant staring is seen as a threat in the dog world, so if your dog winks at you, it could be because it's trying to appear friendly and non-threatening. Number 4. Closed or slightly opened mouth. A dog's mouth is very telling of what's going on inside its head and what its mood is like at any given moment. If your dog's mouth is slightly opened and held in a normal position, you can relax knowing that your dog is happy and content. But if the mouth is closed and pulled back, it could be symbolic of a bigger problem. Your dog could be stressed, frightened, submissive, or even in pain. It's a good idea then to check what could possibly be bothering your puppy. This behavior varies a lot within dogs, and sometimes dogs might have their mouths pulled back and still be at ease. Either way, it's worth checking up on your four-legged friend just in case there's a problem you need to fix. Number 3. Why do dogs show teeth? When you catch your canine best friend retracting lips and showing its teeth, you should do everything in your power to not worsen the situation, because that behavior definitely means your dog is in an aggressive mood, ready for a fight. When a dog shows teeth, you need to be careful because it can end up biting you at any moment, and snarling and muzzle wrinking to this behavior, and that's a recipe for disaster. It's a way for dogs to assert their dominance not only around humans but other dogs too. Unless you have a death wish or something, we'd advise you don't go near any dog showing this behavior, no matter how small or harmless it may seem. Number 2. Staring for too long. An unblinking gaze is a trusted weapon that dogs use to assert their dominance and give out the signal that they're threatening and not to be messed with. So, if you catch your dog staring at you for too long, it could mean there's something potentially wrong and you need to fix the situation before it's too late. Wide-opened eyes also mean that your dog is super alert and paying attention to everything around it. An intense stare along with narrowed eyes definitely means anger, and if the dog starts showing the whites of its eyes, there's a high chance it's about to attack. Interestingly, if your dog looks away after a short stare, it's because the canine is trying to signal politeness or submission. Eye blinking or short stares are a symbol of love and playfulness, and unlike the unblinking gaze, they are not something you need to worry about. Number 1. Laying down and exposing the belly. You know how different cultures throughout the world have their own interpretations of different gestures, and what is seen as respectful in one part of the world is considered to be downright offensive in another. Well, in the dog world, respect is symbolized by probably the silliest thing one can imagine: laying down and exposing the belly. If you catch your dog doing this, you should go ahead and rub its belly. It probably feels love for you, and nothing would make it happier than having the affection reciprocated. This behavior also means that your dog is in a playful mood. The gesture is both a submissive display and a request for a belly rub. Alright, which of these curious behaviors have you noticed your dog do? Is there something else that your dog does that we missed out on? Let us know in the comments below. Oh, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to INFORAMA for more awesome pet content. And we'll see you in the next one.